Howdy. You ever hear the legend, GrandPapi of all SUVs? I'm talking about freedom-loving, go anywhere, do anything type of machine. Makes your marshes and bogs look as if it's just a Sunday puddle. Across the biggest gorge in a single bound. Strap on down, you done got to be lost in the hold all Willys. I'm talking about the Hold All Willys. It's an SUV that was produced in the 1950s through the 1970s in Brazil. In the 1970s, it was produced by Ford do Brazil that bought the Willys factory in 1967, keeping the rural name and basically unchanging the vehicle, just keeping it as is. The Royal Willys is most definitely the GrandPapi of all sports utilities. I'm not talking about your little Willys Jeep, I'm talking about the big sedan, straight six Willys. As it was a vehicle big enough for the entire family. I'm talking dogs, cats, chickens, goats, ducks, and your cousin. And definitely capable of handling the most intense off-road trails. Heck, it don't even need a trail. It eats trails for breakfast. Dirt, mud, poorly maintained streets, my goodness. Great-granddad Cadillac going over those washboard roads. Now, it was launched in the United States back in 1946 under the name Willys Jeep Station Wagon. Big station wagon. Having been the first vehicle of its kind with all metal body, which, strong. Dashboard was metal. Buckle up, there ain't no seatbelts. It's 1946. And what set it apart was, in contrast, it was all metal, and most cars back then had wooden bodies. Wood! And there were some small differences. It was produced in other countries. Back in Japan, it was produced by Mitsubishi with the ultimate name of J37. Back in Argentina, was produced by Industrial Kaiser of Argentina and was known as the Estanciera. Fancy. The traditional lines of the Royal Willys was based on the 1941 military Jimmy. The 1966 Royal Willys was now a Brazilian model, and one of the charms of it was the two different colors you could get between the skirt and the blouse. You could choose between red and white, green and white, and then finally blue and white. The Brazilian model was redesigned in 1960, using the architecture for inspiration from Brasilia, that'd be the capital. This design accompanied the Rural until the closure of its production back in 1977. In Brazil, versions with 4x4 and 2x4 were produced, with inline 6-cylinders, both with a 2.6 and a 3.0. The 2.6 liter inline 6 has the distinct honor of being the first engine produced by Brazil, and also equipped other Willys factories with motors. Done it, such as Jeep and Arrow. Fancy name. Back in 1961, rewind the clock a little bit. Back in 1961, we gotta touch on this. We gotta talk about the F-75, called the pickup Willys, pickup Jeep, but better just known as the F-75. The Brazilian version, widely used by the armed forces down here, had the sweet name of being called F-220. Later became known as the F-85 when it was finally allowed to be sold to civilian public through army auctions. In Argentina, this model was called Bianchiano. I murdered that. Sorry, Argentina. Fancy. The F-75 remained in production in Brazil until 1983, but was downgraded with a 4-cylinder called the OHC with a Dungot displacement of 2.3 liters. Sorry, F-73. But then again, in all versions, it only had about 90 horsepower, which, for the times was high. Everything was strangled back and throttled down. 70s. Now back in 77, once again, production of the Willys Rural was closed, producing about 182,000 units. And that's quite a bit. For all these reasons, Royal Willys is considered the GrandPapi of all SUVs. Or as we say down here in Brazil, SUV. Fancy. If it done not be for the Rural being produced with a sedan body rather than the little tiny Jeep body, there probably ain't gonna be no SUVs to this day. It was the cornerstone. It was the pioneer. And with that being said, that was the story and the legend of the Who-All Willys. I hope y'all liked this. If you did, subscribe please. It's just a little click for you, but man, it mean the world to me. So share this if you absolutely want to, annoy your cousin. That's a good thing to do. Maybe give a little thumbs up. And I'll see y'all next time. Until próxima. Ciao, ciao.